Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering the final series for Steven Universe Future!
In this epilogue series to Steven Universe, the universe is now safe, and the show tries to tie up loose ends left from the original show, and Steven must confront the fact that the last person he must try to help is himself.
Yes, and we know that a lot of people have said there are some plot holes and stuff, but before we get to that, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on future podcasts and World of Paws videos.
Absolutely.
Now, back to Steven Universe. There have been lots of commentations that the show has some things left over that they hadn't finished with the original series. Like what happened with some of the gems, what happened with some of the powers, what's the mystery behind the lion and stuff. There was still some mysteries left that weren't part of the overarching story. So, we ended up getting a TV movie with Steven Universe the musical or Steven Universe the movie, whichever you want to call it, which was showing like a 2-year time skip, which showed what happened after the show ended. And he made peace with the diamonds on Homeworld. And then, sometime later, we got the announcement of Steven Universe Future, which was a 20-episode epilogue series finishing up the story and showing what happened after all the events. And now there's no more fighting and stuff with the diamonds or an army. Mm-hmm. And for here, we were kind of surprised on how it was. It was very different in terms of how to do the story. Mm-hmm, we never had really a series that shows what happened after the story is over, the war is won and stuff. It usually show like a little bit of where are they now, and it's over. Here, they decided to tie up whatever else wasn't told, show them adjusting to this new era, this is called Era 3, for the, for Beach City. And it was pretty much just that. And it started off pretty lighthearted, but as anything goes, everything starts off lighthearted, and then there's horrible psychological trauma and darkness that the show likes to bring.
Mm-hmm. And also, for me, it's the first time seeing a series that focused entirely, as you said, on the development, further development, I should say, of a character, not just physically, but psychologically, mentally, emotionally. It covered all bases of Steven's development until we got a conclusion. The last episode, some people are happy about and some weren't. Mm-hmm. But it's the first series I've seen to take the focus of the development of that character into great detail.
Right.
And each episode, you knew exactly what was being addressed. You knew exactly where he was needing to grow. Excuse me. You knew exactly where the growth had taken place.
Right.
And you weren't left at the end of the episode wondering what happened, what was this episode about, I don't understand. There was never any of that for this series.
Right. And, of course, we have all the original voice cast from the series and movie returning for the show, and then maybe a few guest stars or two for some new gem characters. As you know, all of the gems that were bubbled or fragmented all got released, and they were put back together, so now they're adjusting to life on Earth. They also got Homeworld is now safe, and they kind of go back and forth between Earth and Homeworld. Mm-hmm. They got them doing
unlike Star versus the Forces of Evil.
Right! And they have little mini jobs in Beach City, which I thought was pretty fun. So it's kind of like, if you think about like Lilo and Stitch, where they find where they belong on the island, they have these little jobs and stuff. So it was kind of like that, which ended up being a whole episode.
And I know it's a different network, but as we're speaking, my mind is just saying this is the type of ending we wanted for Star versus the Forces of Evil. This is what we wanted,
right.
Where everything was wrapped up, where there was a travel between Muni surrounding kingdoms and Earth. Right. But we didn't get that. We got something
entirely
totally different.
Right.
So Rebecca Sugar has shown other writers and networks the right way to do it.
Right, and it can be done.
Absolutely.
So for here, it still keeps the themes of the original series, but there is a lot less action going on, at least until the second to final episode. Mm-hmm. More of the drama and action comes in from Steven himself, because it's supposed to relay the fact that, hey, everything's at peace, no more fighting, there's no more issues. And his whole thing, his whole character for the 5 seasons of the movie was helping somebody, where it was a human, his friends, the gems, the diamonds, Spinel. Someone needed help to show that you didn't have to be like this. They can win with love and so forth. Mm-hmm. But for here, there's no one else for that. They even had with 2 of the remaining characters that didn't reform, because most of them did. Mm-hmm. They remained villains, and that was okay. Mm-hmm. They just said, hey, not everybody wants to turn good, and just let them be like that, and that's it, and just face them when you have to. Mm-hmm. And that was a pretty interesting story, because some people were kind of like not a fan of the fact that every villain he fought performed.
But it was realistic, without being in your face, without being preachy, without doing anything, with just, as you said, letting the characters be and letting the story develop, and it feeling very fluid and very natural.
Right. And it was different seeing the characters act so different from the original series. Like, you know, yes. Steven's a lot more mature now. The gems weren't constantly vigilant.
Spastic.
Right. The gems were on constant vigilance for diamonds or invading gems or anything and protecting the earth. They were actually having fun, which was totally different. It's like a role reversal with Steven being more serious and the gems being more laid back.
Well, even his dad, you know, his hair was growing back. He come to terms with him having to cut it off in the movie.
Right.
And he had even a different attitude.
Right. And you had Lars and Sadie had their own lives now, especially with Lars being a space captain and Sadie having her own significant other, Shep, mm-hmm. who was actually introduced as a non-binary character, and people were very pleased to see that they had introduced a character like that in here, and was actually the voice of reason when it came to Steven when he was having some issues in one of his episodes. Mm-hmm. And as we get to that with Steven himself, we saw how much he's grown and changed with the 2-year skip. Kind of had to, because his voice actor doesn't sound like Little Steven anymore. But for here, it had this little thing where it's saying, oh, everything's nice and great. He doesn't have to fight anymore. Everything should be great. And at first it starts out like he's a little bit overbearing at times. He's like, oh, help this person. But they got it in control. You don't need to tell them, oh, I want to help and stuff. And then as it gets further down, it starts to get a little more invasive. And he starts having some interesting issues within himself, and then his friends start leaving, and then he starts getting nervous and scared, and then he starts panicking, then he starts having pink diamond powers all of a sudden, then he starts having like psychological trauma, then he starts wondering if he's good enough, then he starts getting angry a lot, teen angst, then he starts panicking, then he has to go see a psychiatrist because he's losing his mind, and then it comes to him just flat out losing his crap, and it goes into the theory where people thought he would become corrupted, which ended up becoming true, and he turned into a giant Godzilla gem monster because he's been harboring all of these horrible feelings about himself, and it's just like, go get help now, because that was like, the whole joke was like, for a while for fans, this is becoming uncomfortable to watch because he was really getting unnervingly bad. It wasn't like, haha, he's a little awkward now. It was like, again, he's having some issues mentally, emotionally, and it was like, this is getting a little difficult to sit through because it was hard seeing someone like this, especially if you know someone is actually going through something like this. And eventually it led into him becoming Godzilla.
Yeah, he clearly was having a problem with not being needed as much as he had been before, and solutions not being simple. This is happening, I'll just do that. That saves it. I'll be, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, he was always determined to help and have a solution. But as you said now, people were able to, from his example, from his help, from how it turned out, to come about and make decisions themselves, figure out how to delegate, spread things around. And in some cases, as we saw, some of the characters were deciding to choose to do other things or even have a different personality or attitude, and that freaked him out. But you don't like that. But that's not what you do.
Oh,
well, I'm trying something different. Right. As you suggested, and they kept saying, as you suggested. Someone once told me. Right. And he was like, I don't want to hear that anymore.
Right. Because everyone was actually okay now. So it was hard for him, like you said, it was hard for him to grasp on that he didn't have to help anymore in terms of them changing altogether. The last time he did it was in the movie with Spinell, and she seriously needed it. And it was sort of like a recap of everything the characters had been through. And here now we're seeing what comes next, and it's pretty simple. And we kind of figured with the series ending, Steven was going to figure out who he was. He goes on this little road trip on his own, of course. And there was always this little joke in here. World trip. Right. Several times. And even have this little thing where, he tells the gems he's going to leave soon. Because it's been a month time span after he turned into the Godzilla thing. And they realize, oh, yeah, you're leaving. Well, I hope you have a great time and good luck with that. We'll see you soon. And he was kind of stunned they weren't freaking out or anything because Peridot, Lapis, and Bismuth were crying their eyes out. Greg, of course, was upset. Connie was kind of upset. And Jim was like, oh, it's okay. We'll see you soon. Just as he's leaving, he somehow reverses back driving without crashing into anything. He said, why aren't you upset? And then they start crying. Of course we're upset! We're trying to be strong! And of course Mama had to cry because it was the end.
Yes, that's me. That's what I do.
And we did, and we, of course, definitely want to mention the ending they had after the little adventures they had and stuff with the other gems. They had after the show was over with Rebecca Sugar. Mm-hmm. And they kind of showed like a little bit of a montage going with the Comic-Con and from the journey of, from when it started, like from the pilot to season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then the movie, then future, and the announcements and stuff. And it was seen that everyone really had a lot of passion when it came to the show, whether they worked on it or they watched it. And they were just very appreciative of everybody involved in it with this message saying, you'll always be our family.
And in an interview, she stated with Fast Company, she said that I'm certainly interested in spending more time in this world with these characters, but the thing about Steven Universe is about Steven Universe, and I want to give him the time to heal. And she also added, I want to give that to my team as well, so I'm not really sure for certain what's going to happen in the future. I have a few ideas, but I'm going to take a little time to evaluate everything before I jump into them.
Right.
And she did an awesome job, she and her team.
Right, because we've seen with other shows like Regular Show and Adventure Time, they end up having some sort of spin-off or a movie or a comic continuation. Well, in here, as you said, no comics, so that'll kind of freak people out because they're so used to it. The most we got right now is an art book that shows called Steven Universe End of an Era, where it shows all the artwork and highlights and stuff from the beginning of the series and making it all the way to the conclusion of Future.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and I think it was so well done and all the questions were answered that you're not left feeling that you need more to satisfy the questions.
Right.
And you can always go back and rewatch the entire series and the movie and just feel happy and at home with this show and what it brought to television, what it has meant in terms of changing animation storytelling, production, songwriting. I mean, the songwriting was brilliant in this show. And just the wonderfulness of her creating a character after her younger brother. Sweetness all around. So, we know you've seen this movie, so let us know what you think in the comments below. Let us know if you were left wanting something additional. Let us know if you really wish that there were more to come, or are you happy with how it turned out.
Right. And how was your journey with Steven Universe? Because I know we got in pretty late. We only started like, summer of 2019? And be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on future Paws videos and World of Paws podcasts. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Masculine Entertainments.
And I'm Mom Entertainments.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.
And here we are in the future, and it's bright.
Yes.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Met her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket.